It is that time of year where we start setting goals for the new year. So let's talk about setting actor goals and what that means. Hi, I'm Emery. I'm a musical theater educator, director, choreographer, actor enthusiast. I'm also an actor pursuing an acting career, and I want to talk about what goal setting looks like, at least for me. I'm not going to dive too much into the concept of SMART goals, but everything that we talk about in this video, we're looking at them being specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So every goal that I'm going to try to set or talk about setting, you want to try to hit those 5 terms. So that's the SMART goal concept, right? They are a specific goal. I'll mention that. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. Okay, so let's talk about it. Number one thing as an actor that you want to do when you're setting goals is make them you-centric, okay? Not casting director-centric. And what I mean by that is that you don't want to make your goal get cast in 10 projects next year, or be cast in my first Broadway musical, or be cast in my first regional theater production. Unfortunately, you have very little control over that happening. Even if you put in all the work and you do all the things, the likelihood of it happening is totally up to casting. And as I've talked about in previous videos, you can check out this one from the casting side of the table. There's so many things that go into casting that have nothing to do with your talent, that making that one of your goals is not good practice because you cannot control it, therefore you cannot work toward it. Okay, so everything I talk about today needs to be you-centric goals, things that you can control and you can do. So I would suggest having a couple different headings, subheadings for your goals. You could have a subheading of acting. You could have a subheading of special skills. You could have a subheading of physical health. You could have a subheading of mental health, and make goals within each of those areas. And make specific goals within each of those areas. So say you are talking about your physical health. You want to get more fit in the new year. That's not a great specific goal because it didn't have any of the SMART components in it, except maybe being relevant. But it's when in the new year? What does being more fit mean? Does that mean losing a certain amount of weight? Does that mean working out a certain amount of times per week? Does that mean feeling stronger? Does that mean lifting heavier? You need to be specific. And so if your objective is weight loss, or if your objective is getting stronger, or if your objective is just to be moving and increasing your cardio, get specific in that. So one of mine is doing minimum 15 minutes of cardio 3 days a week. Okay, it is a super small thing. I have other health conditions that I have to worry about and things like that. So this is just me like baseline. I will hopefully do more than that, but that is bare minimum for me. Okay, and I'm going to do that for the first 3 months and then reassess and hopefully up that number. But from January to March, baseline goal, I've made it specific. I am doing cardio activities. So it can either be running at the track or biking on my indoor bike because it's cold and nasty here. I've made it measurable. Can I mark off 3 times a week? Yes, I can. 15 minutes each? Yes, I can. Okay. It's relevant to me feeling healthier in my body and also being more prepared to do the musical I've been cast in this year. And then is it relevant? Obviously, if I'm working towards being in a musical, I need to be physical. I need to keep up my physical health. It's relevant and it's time bound. I've set a time parameter of 3 months and then reassess where I'm at. Okay, so does that make sense? So if you've got a physical health goal, don't just say, I want to lose 20 pounds. How? Why? What are you going to do? You need to make that goal specific. Okay, you're going to hear me say it so many times this video. You're like, Emery, I'm done. No, thank you. No more. All right, so have a health goal, something to do with maybe it's healthy living, maybe it's eating better, maybe it's making sure that you're drinking enough water every day so that you are refreshed and ready to act, because this is our tool. Yes, we all know that. So we have to try to keep it in prime condition or prime-ish condition, whatever we're striving for, whatever your goal may be. Then let's talk about acting. There are lots of acting things that you can do that are within your control. Some of them cost money, some of them don't. You could sign up for acting classes, try out different styles, different techniques. Every teacher has their own way of teaching. Every school and studio has their own prescribed methodology. Learn them all. See what works for you. Keep what works. pass on what doesn't, and that's okay. Develop your own style, your own technique. Okay, so you can take class. If you don't have money, there's free learning. Oh, YouTube is full of free learning. My channel has tons of advice on basics of theater acting for new actors. Okay, or you can go to the library and read the technique books and like keep in mind when they were written and what's shapeshifted, and look on the internet. There's just so many free resources to learn about acting. Dive into it. Practice self-tapes if you're doing screen acting, well, even if you're doing theater acting. If you're doing theater acting, practice singing on self-tape. If you're doing screen acting, download scenes and practice. Get a reader, do the whole shebang. There's different ways to practice and work on your acting technique that have nothing to do with getting cast in a show multiple times. They're all going to make you better so that your likelihood of being cast in a show is higher. But I would make one of your goals for the year as an actor professional development. How are you going to improve? Maybe there's an accent that you've been wanting to work on or nail for a really long time, and that's what you're going to set your goals around, okay? Whatever it is, make it smart, specific, measurable, achievable, okay? So I'm not going to say to myself, when I say achievable, I'm not going to be like, I'm going to memorize 17 different dialects this year. As someone who is me, I'm not great at dialects and accent work, so that one's a really sketchy goal for me. That would be really hard to be achievable, okay? Relevant, of course, we need accents and acting work. So yes, it's relevant. Time bound, I've given myself the year. So that's working on an accent would be a smart goal depending on how you word it. Maybe you need to improve on some skills in your package. Maybe you are a super strong singer and a great actor, but your dancing's a bit weak. Maybe you need to go take some dance classes. I have free choreography on my channel, just some little combos that you can practice and learn more. Okay, or maybe, there's that call for everybody being a quadruple threat right now. So maybe you want to go take some gymnastics classes and practice your tumbling. Maybe you want to pick up some stage combat, gun safety on set classes or things like that. So hyper-specific special skills that could help with your casting in the future. Maybe you take some ballroom dance lessons. Maybe that's for fun and for learning. Okay, this is all supposed to be for fun. If we're living this life and doing this thing, this should all be bringing us joy. But maybe your special skills need just a little tune-up. Maybe you need to add a couple more to your package to make yourself a little bit more desirable to a casting director. What special skills could you work on that you're already inclined towards? And then finally, we've talked about physical health, we've talked about acting. Let's talk about mental health, because developing good patterns for mental health as an actor is super important, because you need to be tough enough to withstand the industry, but open and vulnerable enough to be a beautiful actor. And lovely, right? So how can you protect your mental health and well-being? You could develop a morning routine. You could do journaling. You can do meditation. You can set intentions. You could work out. You could do some stretching. Whatever it is that sets you up right for the day. If you're not a morning person, you could have a nighttime cool down routine where you do all those same things, but for the next day. You could make sure you're in therapy. I think it's very important for everybody to be talking about this. You could set up parameters to make sure that your self-care is taken care of and know how to try to jump out of it when you're spiraling, okay? As someone who deals with a lot of big feelings and a lot of emotions, I get this. I have been here. And going to rehearsal and trying to create after being in a spiral all day is a really hard place to be in. So how do you reset? Is it music? Is it a pre-rehearsal routine that you do that is listening to specific songs? Whatever it is, protect your mental health. Okay, because this is a tough industry and you need to have strength within to withstand it in any which way you look at it. Whether you're doing this as a hobby or professionally, the rejection hurts, the rehearsals, the feedback on this thing that you're pouring your heart into can hurt. Okay, we are feeling beings, those of us who pursue this, and I understand that completely. So please set up something of a goal that is centered around improving your mental health. Whether that is just reading more or whatever it is that looks like for you, make that one of your goals. Okay, so I just gave you a whole bunch of options for things that could be goals for next year, being an actor, that have nothing to do with you getting cast in a show, because your worth is not determined by what you are cast in. Okay, your worth is not determined by how often or what you are cast in. You are an actor. You're not an aspiring actor. You are an actor if you're doing this thing. So take care of yourself, take care of your physical health, take care of your instrument, okay? Maybe that's singing lessons. Maybe that is getting specific breathing techniques under control and things like that. Whatever it is, okay? So physical health, mental health, and acting professional development, and acting special skills. 4 things that you can work on in the new year that have nothing to do with a casting director deciding that they want to put you in their show. I hope this was helpful. I wish you all the best year next year. I would love for you to share one of your acting goals in the comments so I can cheer you on and check in with you and see how it's going. I think having a community when you're doing this career is so important, so I would love to have you as part of mine. I would super appreciate a like and subscribe, and I will see you soon for more theater goodness. Bye.